Hello there, welcome to another episode of the RSS with me, Rashid Saleh, as well as my friend here, Jason Sim, aka the Kuchingite. Now, I never seem to know what's going to be what we're going to be talking about, because he always brings a surprise on me. So, for those of you who think that we're always thinking that we know what we'll be talking about, I don't, because he actually doesn't tell me at all before the show.
Planning ahead is not a good strength of mine.
Well, except for work, because you got to plan ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my boss is
you
watching,
forgot about that, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, considering this is the third part of our discussion, interview in the last 3 years. 3 years.
Wow, you make it sound as if we're already best friends.
3 weeks, yeah. I mean, it'll be remiss.
This coffee is really good.
Oh yeah, it's good coffee. Yeah, I would be remiss to not pick your brain and just provide a roadmap for people who wanna maybe not follow your path exactly, but who wants to do a career in the arts, in film, TV. So just to get started, right? I mean, we can balance it out with your experience, but what's your advice for someone who wants to start out? I want to be an actor. I mean, where do you start?
There are a few things that need to be in place sometimes. In the Western world, and when we talk about the West, those things are in place. For example, especially when you have parents who encourage you to, who help you, encourage you to do what you want to do. That's one thing.
Yeah.
You need the support.
Yeah.
It depends on what age as well. So we do have kids now, and it's quite amazing. I now get asked about from parents who have children at the ages of maybe 11, 12, sometimes younger, wanting to do the arts, acting.
Yeah.
I'm all happy for it, and to me that's great. The question you asked is, where
How
do
do
they
you
start to
start?
become to make it a career? You got to start there. So you can tell whether your child or not has the talent or not. But I always say, encourage them to try it out at a young age. If there are courses that are available at that young age, go for it. Because you will find out, not from you, but your child or whoever's going for it, if they're interested or not. Because they may have that interest because they've seen TV and I want to be like this. But when they actually do it and go through it, they might not enjoy it.
I mean, did you go through that?
I didn't have
childhood?
that. I didn't have that choice.
What Asian parent will push their kids to the arts at an early
None.
age?
No age. As you know, Asian parents, even in the 70s, 80s, 90s, until today. But nowadays, it's a bit different because, like I said, parents now, they do encourage their children to try things out. But inevitably, when you get to a certain age, you say, go and be a lawyer, doctor. But here it's not lawyer, doctor. It's go and be a developer, or this and then and the other, right? Or be accountant.
So where do you start? I mean, do you have to look around and see, is this viable for me here? Do I have to move somewhere? Do I have to can I stay in Kuching and actually do this?
At this very moment, there are very, very few places. I mean, I don't know anything about Majlis Seni Sarawak. I wish I will probably. I'd like to engage with them and find out how we can help and what the Premier has said about talent development. Irrespective of whether it's sports, whether anything, talent development is really important for anyone, whether they're in the arts or in the sports industry, to grow. If we cannot develop if we don't have the foundations for it. So I guess people like me will have to help that become reality by creating these kind of foundations. Start academies, start even small classes. I did free acting classes back in April. It was well received. People loved it. People enjoyed it. And I thought, this is something that we can grow and develop. Whether the numbers are there, we don't know yet, because in Sarawak, we've never had anything like this. And if so, it's always been like, you either become a dancer or a singer and all that. But acting, I can't think, unless I'm wrong, we've had, and I'm very sure also Finas has done these type of seminars for acting and stuff, but they're very few and far in between. So the most important thing is we need to develop or create these talent development classes, whatever you want to call it, first, so that people will go in and go, hey, let me see if my child or me, that I can do it. I think that's first and foremost that needs to be done. There are no avenues at the moment. In Kuala Lumpur, there's, we have KLPAC, we have a number of both English and Malay theatre that you can join and come in and go, like, can I get classes? And there are courses available. You can go on. I think KLPAC has their own website that you can go on and do.
Would you still encourage them to like move to KL and like pursue this kind of?
If they're really, really serious, that would be the first move, because until we have some sort of foundation here, I can't think of anyone. I mean, there have been filmmakers that have had classes, and I have queried that, because like, have they acted before? Because you need that. You need experience to be able to teach. You can't just teach acting if you've never acted. It's like, I'm teaching maths, but I've never done maths before, mathematics. So how do you qualify yourself if you've done maybe 10, 15 films or TV, and then you've been credited for it? Yeah, you will qualify in that sense. But not everyone can teach, and not everyone. It's like football. Everyone's a great player, but not everyone can coach, and we've seen that time and time again. So for us here, yes, right at this very moment, yeah, I encourage them to go to KL and do. If you have the time and the means and the money, go and learn, go and educate yourself, because it is an education. Everyone says, oh, it's only the arts, but it's also it's also another form of education for you.
Where do you begin in terms of looking for auditions or places to start? I mean, is it always the academic route? Is it like this academy, or like how do you get into your first gig?
Again, very important to have network. I actually won the Best Actor Award at the age of 18, 19 in college here. Not here, in KL. I was in KDU, College Damansara Utama. We call it Club Damansara.
So it was a drama class?
Yeah, well, it was
theatre class.
It was a theatre. We did a theatre. They call it Sabanika night. So we had like theatre competitions. I actually enrolled. This was in between my A levels and uni. I enrolled for the American program at the time. Don't ask me why. There was a little thing in my younger life that I went through, and I won the Best Actor Award. And I actually did some classes, like minor in like acting and stuff. We had this really good acting teacher, Chris M. He's still around. He was a great teacher. He really encouraged everyone to really do the stuff. And he had contacts obviously with people in the arts. So that's how we sort of got into the arts, because you need to know the people in the arts. But also at the same time, I got in. I can't remember how I got there, but I got involved with Actor Studio at the time. They were still in Dataran Merdeka, underground. There used to be the Actor Studio under the big Padang, where Royal Selangor Club is. and Actors Studio used to be there, and I used to do plays and train there, and you get into the groove of things, and you learn the whole process there, but you need to be immersed in it to be able to know your work. As you know, a lot of the really good actors in the world today, they've come mostly from a theatre background, because they've had the training to be able not just to perform in front of live audiences, but to be able to perform their characters, because we have to study it, and it's a process, a formal process to be able to do it.
Was Kopitiam your first gig, acting gig?
TV gig, yes. Acting gig, no, because I did theatre before that.
Okay.
But
it was paid theatre in KL.
paid theatre, yes.
In front of an audience?
Yep, in front of an audience. I did a play, an AIDS play, in the flagpole in Dataran Merdeka, in front of like probably 500 over Mud Rockers at the age of 19. I died in that AIDS play. I think I played a guy who died, and it was so exhilarating because you're performing in front of all these like people in public. It was iconic because I'm like, I've got the flag, and then got all these like, dia mati tengok dia ada dapat AIDS. And you got that kind of audience, not the sitting down audience who watch. This one's will interact with you. It's like nowadays, like getting all these netizens. I got my netizens there physically while I'm dying. But they enjoyed it. They clapped everything. They loved a good show, and to be able to do that in front of a live audience is really fun. To me, until today, when people ask me, what's your best role? I said any role that I've had to perform in front of a live audience. I mean, I've done comedy, I've done farce, I've done Shakespeare, other stuff, and the best is always being able to perform in front of a live audience. But the training that goes before that. Now you must remember, a lot of people who do theatre, they're not full-time theatre actors.
It's a part-time job.
It's a part-time job. Yeah. So what they do is after work at 5 o'clock, they start rehearsing and rehearsals from like 7 to 10. So they give up 3 hours of their day, and they rehearse for 3 months just to do a 1 week play, or maybe a 2-3 day play, which will last between an hour and 2 hours.
Was that how you looked at it prior to getting on TV?
I looked at it as, especially when we were getting, as a professional actor in theatre, was, oh, hang on a minute, I'm getting paid to train. Instead of saying, I'm getting this much to be paid as a theatre actor. I always looked at it like, great, I'm doing my training as an actor. I didn't know I was going to be TV. I mean, I ended up doing other stuff when uni, and then I went and worked first. I got the call from my friend who did theatre with me. But with as a theatre actor and part-time, this is what we did. So we finish work, we'll drive to have something to eat, which we'll rehearse until 10 o'clock, and then do whatever you need to do after that, and you do that almost every day. Just for that performance, and these are what I call them, they're pure theatre actors, because they love the fact that they get to perform on stage in front of an audience and be in the characters that they've been taught or trained in. And these guys are amazing. I mean, we've seen guys who've done from theatre to TV and stuff. I think Bront Polare is also a theatre actor. Tony Yusuf, Anthony Joseph. Tony Yusuf is a theatre actor and singer as well, musical. So he's multi-talented, and there's quite a few who have who came from a theatre background, and they're really good actors.
I'm guessing this kind of opportunities to do this kind of part-time work, part-time in the arts, part-time in the, is it available in Sarawak?
At the moment, not so much. I have, like, again, I would probably have to check with Majlis Seni Sarawak. I'm quite sure, because I think they do have performances. A lot of it, I guess, I'm assuming they are more dance-based, musical-based, because as you see that whenever we have a big function, it's always there's a dance here. It's either for the guys from the Sarawak Cultural Village who are very well trained because they do it every day, and they're very good at what they do. MSS also, I assume they have that kind of talent that's available to do it. I know of senior actors that have worked under me in television in the last 2 years. Kat Sanot, there's a few other, Wahab, and a few older actors who've acted with me who have talent and they're very much capable to do, probably one day, to train people. And there's Ernie Doris as well, another one who come from theatre, and they're a joy to work with because I don't need to train them or tell them what their characters are like. When I go, there's a massive difference when you have someone who've worked in theatre or who's done theatre. When they do television, the questions they ask are very much different to someone who's purely TV or has just come into our realm. And it's very different because for them, they're asking about their characters. You say, okay, I do this, and all I need to tell them is like, oh, don't forget the camera is like this, right? You're supposed to be. I don't tell them you're supposed to be upset. You're supposed to be. They know their characters. They ask the questions. What is my feeling when I'm here in this particular scene? I know I've read it, but those kind of questions you only get from theatre actors because they study the character. For people who are slightly newer, they will stand and go, where do I stand? Where do I put my face? Because they're more concerned about how they look. But that's just a generalization of actors. But there are a number of actors who will question the director. Again, as a director, you've got to be able to take that. There are directors who's never handled theatre actors and they don't know how to answer that. So they will give references or they will tell them.
I mean, from your experience, most of your peers, did they go through that formal training route? I wouldn't say not that many. I would say, if you want percentage-wise, the ones... I come from theatre, so I know a lot of the theatre people. So maybe 30%. I'll push it to 40%. You mentioned Braun, you mentioned Tony.
Yeah.
But is that like
so
outliers?
30%, 40% would have come from theatre.
Yeah.
I'm pushing it when I say that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, from comedy, that's a lot more. But theatre, not that many really. People think they've all come from theatre, but no. I think that would be very safe for me to say 30%, pushing to 40%, not even half.
So from this network of performers, right? You obviously get exposed to auditions. You know when auditions are available. Like, how many auditions did you have prior to your first TV gig? Were there a lot of jobs at the time?
No, I wasn't. Before I got the Kopitiam gig, I didn't get anything. I wasn't. I did one commercial at the age of 18. It was KFC.
Oh.
But that was through a friend because her father owned a production house. And
so cable that one.
Well, not really. Yeah, sort of, because her good friend was my sister. So my sister, hey, you want to do it? Yeah, okay. I was playing rugby at the time and got that. But the audition for Kopitiam was also through my friend. She played my love interest in, I was Curly in Oklahoma. So she was my love interest. And she was a camera director who was working on the Kopitiam project. So she gave me a call and said, do you want to audition for this? And that's how I got the job for Kopitiam.
But to be clear, these are the friends that you made from this theatre group.
From theatre and college and all that, because we did theatre together. Yeah. So the network is there. But it's not, theatre is not something you can trifle with. It is so hard to learn. There's a lot more to it than just acting, and a lot more to it just training. There are many things that is involved in it that you learn to become a good actor. And people say, it's a lot of internal, but it is, because you are at the end of the day using your emotions to be able to portray a character that you're not. You do research, you know. People say, there's these film actors, blah blah. That's what we do in theatre. You can't just you get the question, you ask the questions, you speak to the director. Shakespeare's stuff is been done to death, but you still have a lot of questions to ask, and you still have to get the information to be able to do the character that you want, or you can just copy what's already been done. That's up to you.
Can you talk us through the Kopitiam audition process? Like, obviously you got a heads up from your friend, and then was it a difficult process? Was it? And I'm assuming it's a rare English speaking show in job that you can get in Malaysia.
Kopitiam. I heard, and this was told to me years ago, there were a number of people who auditioned for my role.
Yeah.
I mean, by no means that I didn't know anyone in the industry then. I was still working in events.
Yeah.
By no means was I like, I'm good. I think I'm going to get this. I went there because my friend said, "Do you want to try?" I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Literally, it was that kind of like answer.
Yeah.
And I heard that Harith Iskandar had auditioned for the role. I don't know whether it's true or not. I don't know whether it's true, but and all these guys who are already actors. I mean, Harith is like in my
he was
senior,
established at the time?
Yeah, well, he was
already a working
comedian,
actor. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And all these other actors had auditioned for it. I went for a second audition, by the way. So I went to the audition, and then.
So where was the audition?
It was in the Double Vision office then. I can't remember where exactly it was at the time. Was it in Cheras then, or somewhere else?
So sometime in the morning,
I think I went during after work or something, or in between work, and it was in between work. I was still working at the time. I tried my luck, what the heck, and I got a call back to do a second audition, and then
can you just tell us what the first audition involved?
We were given the script,
yeah.
And then we had to read the lines and stuff, and there was a camera. It's typical. They put a camera there.
Like
they ask you a
question. Test, is it?
Yeah. They're like, how what's your name? You mention your name, how old you are, what's your height, what's your weight. I never till today. It's like, why do you want to know my weight? What's that got to do with it?
Yeah.
But features, yes, because those days television was 4:3. It's not 16:9 now. Widescreen.
Yeah.
Those days was like it literally was. So whatever you do when you're on screen, it puts 20% of you. So if you're like fat, you look much better. Yeah. I know. No, but this is 16:9, so a bit different.
Good.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. Too late for you. If you could see the bloopers. But so I didn't know that at the time. But do the audition, blah blah, read a few lines. Directors all were like this and that. They never told you anything.
Yeah.
And then after that.
So how long was this?
I can't remember. I mean, it probably was like, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Was it literally your first audition?
Yes. Yeah, it was my first audition, first TV audition.
So how many people were watching?
I can't remember, 3, 4 max.
So there's 3, 4 people in a room. Yeah.
Yeah, like my director. I think Bell there. My camera director, and I think the producers were there watching.
Were you nervous?
I can't remember.
You can't.
I think I just did it. I was like, whatever.
Oh really?
Yeah, just. And then I got a call back to do the second audition, and they can't say I can't remember because I have the archives of all the stuff. And after that, I think 2 weeks later, I got a phone call saying that I got the job.
Oh wow!
And
after the second audition.
After the second audition.
What was the gap between the second and the first?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Probably a few months.
That's
it.
A few months.
Yeah, just a few
wow.
months. No, it wasn't because I'm quite sure they had to go through other actors and then probably spoke to the station.
Were you still thinking about it at the
No,
time?
no, no. I just like switched off.
Oh.
I didn't care because
Yeah.
like I got to work.
Yeah,
So what happens? The process is usually they'll get a number of talent, then they'll present it to the station. Just also remember they're presenting this show for the first time to a TV station. Now a TV station is going, is this going to work or not? This they don't know. They
So they
don't
want
know
to
what
do the
Kopitiam is
pilot,
about.
is it?
Yeah, it's a pilot, and they're just presenting the pilot, not the whole season. So those days, you're presenting just a pilot episode. So blah blah blah. So behind the scenes, I'm sure that was happening. I mean, obviously we know now that's the kind of thing that happens, and trying to convince the station that this thing will work, and God bless Ping Ho. I mean, he got it done. And then when I got told that I got the job, the first thing in my head was like, when are we shooting that particular? Oh, we're doing this. Is okay, all right. I could just take a few days off to shoot this pilot, and it was just, but I did. What we had to do was we had to rehearse the whole one episode. So after work, we'd go to there was an apartment in Bangsar that we went to, and I met the rest of the cast for the first time. We're like, blah blah blah. Everyone was quite shy.
So this is like Douglas and everyone
Douglas, Joanna, Lena, Jincho, and Mano. Okay, so and like this, so these two old men, and Douglas was 17 at the time, I think 17, 18 at the time. Yeah,
Wow.
I was 24. This was 1995, 96, and and Lena, I don't want to tell the age, but they're between me and Douglas.
Yeah.
And then the two old men, Jincho and Mano, were already established theatre actors. They were well known in the theatre scene. We didn't know. I mean, to me, they're like, hey, two old men, blah blah blah, and we auditioned. We rehearsed for quite a number of months after work.
No.
Before the
pilot.
first episode.
Oh.
And what happened was, I remember Belle was there as well. She was like doing the camera movements. I didn't know what was going on. All we did was we were working out our characters, and we were also working out the pilot episode. It was a long process. They don't do it like this anymore. I mean, literally finding out who we were, how we did stuff, and then, so by the time that we shot the actual pilot, if you know, have you seen it on when it was on Netflix before? You see the difference between the first episode and the second episode is very different. But the first episode, my character, the way he talks and the way he talks in the second episode is very different. But it was really cool because it was the first time that we shot after doing rehearsals in front of multiple cameras. I'd never been through, and in a studio set. So for us, a lot of it was like, hang on a minute, all of us, maybe barring Douglas, were theatre actors. So it was like working on a theatre set, but with cameras instead of audiences, and instead of like instant gratification, instant reply from audiences. But it was so cool because I remember Joanna telling me that after a rehearsal, like maybe the second month, third month, she said, I think this is going to be a really good show.
Oh, she saw it early. Yeah.
And we were like, yeah.
So I'm sure we can do an entire episode about Kopitiam, and I'm sure we'll do it one day. But just getting back to the process of like being an actor, your first audition, and then now you're in this. What are the chances of getting an English language show at the time? Was it a rare occurrence? What was it something that just suddenly popped up? I mean, I'm not aware of any ones prior before that. Was it something like, oh, everyone wants to get onto, or?
It was. I don't think. I also can't remember. I've been told there were probably one or two prior to this that, but sitcom, I can't think of any prior to us in terms of comedy. Yeah, there may have been English shows, TV shows prior to us, but English sitcom, situational comedy, I don't think so. So it was a pioneer in that sense, and and English, and not just English, it was Malaysian English. But the audition process, I mean, to be able to do something like that, I mean, definitely I can talk about Kopitiam for the longest time. But as an actor, to be able to do something like this, it was one of a kind, never been done before, and that's why it's a show. I mean, even I would say this generation, Gen Z, they're lucky right now because they're able to do all this stuff, but no one did it before us. We were the first one to do this.
Why do you think there were so few English shows and so few after?
Maybe because at the time, I'm speculating. I'm just thinking ahead. I'm not thinking ahead, thinking behind. No. Maybe at the time, the propaganda at the time was, to promote more Bahasa Malaysia content. I don't know. I mean, it was the 90s. Obviously, this is during Mahathir's time. But at the same time, NTV7, we were launched on NTV7. Yeah. And NTV7 is essentially at the beginning a Sarawakian TV channel. Mm-hmm. People always say TVS was the first, but it's not, because NTV7 was started by Tan Sri Effendi, Angkor TV, and as much as people say TVS is a first national TV station, but I'm going to have to argue with that one, because I'm sorry, but NTV7, there were a lot of Sarawakians who worked at.
My aunt was a newscaster, as you know.
There we go. So just you can't say NTV7. It was a Sarawakian TV station, and the difference between it's day and night. I mean, they had experts doing that stuff, and I suppose when they picked it up and bought the show, they felt that it was something fresh and new and could be done.
Well, considering its success, it's curious that there hasn't been more English language shows since then. So I could be ignorant of whatever been happening since then.
There have been one or two, but not as successful as Kopitiam. Things like this, I'm just very, very honored. I wouldn't say blessed, I wouldn't say lucky. Very honored to have been part of something that's so iconic. But you must remember, looking back at it, the actors that we had to be able to pull this off, 5 of the 6, the main actors, even Kinwa, who came in later, Chu Kinwa, who's now a famous actor in Indonesia, film actor in Indonesia. He's from theatre as well. And, we were mostly all theatre actors. So that's why I say, to be able to really improve yourself as an actor, to really, to have a better chance of you to try different roles. I tell every young actor, I said, go into theatre. If you have the chance to get into theatre, train yourself as a theatre actor, because it gives you a really good grounding to be able to handle different characters, different roles in your future career.
And I don't expect you to give like a dollar figure, but was being a TV actor a lucrative career?
No.
No?
Not in the beginning. No. It is in the short term.
Yeah. It is in the short term.
It is in the short term, because you actually sort of get paid a bit more than normal people, but you look at it like, I can survive for 3 months. That kind of thing. Yeah. Unless nowadays it's different, because you have influencers, you have, because the term actor has been a bit diluted in that sense now, because you have influencers who become actors, and now they call themselves influencer, actor. We have people who are like MC, actor, because they've dabbled in acting. So they're now they qualify themselves. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. Qualify themselves as I'm an actor now because I've done 1 or 2 productions. But for us, it's like, you know, I'm not necessarily saying you have to be in theatre, but there are some really good TV actors who've done a body of work who are really good, and to me they're actors. And then they've dabbled in, you know, it's like me. I started in acting and all that. I've worked as a presenter, and because of my training as a theatre actor, I've been able to be able to present, because it is an acting gig in that sense. You've got to be able to project yourself as, you know, you watch and learn other presenters and go, okay, this is good, I learned from this is how I do it. And then you learn eventually your own style. But the acting in theatre gives a very good grounding to be able to to do other roles. Not, you know, when I say role, it doesn't have to be other acting roles. You can be a presenter, you can be a producer, you can be, because it teaches you to do that, to be able to handle other people and other human beings.
So you were getting paid by the network by being on the show, right?
Yes, there are a few ways of getting paid. You can get paid per day, or you can get paid per episode. I mean, that's the standard stuff in those days.
So at the height of your fame during the Kopitiams,
the first season,
the best period, right? I mean, were there other ways that you know, obviously this is before social media and all that, but were there other ways that you monetize your fame? I mean, I've seen you in front of magazines and things like that, you know, Men's Health and stuff like that. I mean, did you get paid for stuff like that? I mean, were there avenues to like kind of monetize that fame at the time? No.
I mean, we were naive in that sense of, you know, we could have maybe I mean, hindsight is a bitch. Sorry, but you know singers. So they get, you know, well, I don't know what singers here, it still happens here nowadays or not, but you know, you get your, you know, you sing a song and then you will get your royalty from it. And what we should have done in the beginning was, if we knew, I mean, like I said, hindsight is
negotiate for royalty.
Just imagine that every time it comes out you get paid, you know, irrespective. It's like music. Every time your song gets played you get a royalty from it. You know, it's automated, whatever. But
was it something that was like possible to do? I mean, you're just this fresh
well,
actor getting your first job.
Let me put it this way. We did negotiate that. I remember the second or third season we negotiated with the network. No, it wasn't network. It was the production house. So Double Vision, who owned the rights to Kopitiam.
Yeah.
And I think Nina left after the third season. Yeah, because you know, we obviously everyone wanted to have a higher fee, because we gave them a name, and we were literally, you know, they were getting other shows because of Kopitiam. We knew that. We weren't stupid.
So by the third season, you guys were like...
We banded together. Yeah, we did. We banded together. It's like, you know, but I remember Lena was like, you know, this stuff, you know, people don't talk about, but it's like Lena's like, no, I'm not going to do this, because, you know, obviously she was already Miss Malaysia and she was doing stuff there, you know, and rightly so. We should have been paid more, or at least we could have said, you know, but that's the thing with Malaysian entertainment, like, you know, we're not Hollywood. We don't make the money that we should, but I'm quite sure they did, because they had the sponsors they had was amazing. I mean, like, there were M&M's and, you know,
you're talking about the network, right?
Yeah. Well, the production house. They're the ones who own the rights. So eventually they were very smart about this as well. So what they did was they gave us a higher fee for each person, but the later episodes, if you watch, we were in less episodes. So we didn't do all like 13. I did a few, and that's how they, like, you know, even things out. Smart. I would do the same thing. You know. So yeah.
I mean, is it realistic for like a fresh actor to negotiate for royalties?
No.
Yeah.
Well, no royalty. You don't, until today, I don't think you get royalties, unless nowadays, I think in film they do. The big stars, I'm quite sure they get a percentage of the...
Yeah, the big stars. Yeah. But I mean, like, for someone who's, you know, in their first acting gig on
No,
TV.
you're not. You just,
so in hindsight,
this is how much you're going to get per
possible?
episode, and take it or leave it. Like, okay, I want to do this. Oh, okay. You know, I mean, I'm not going to tell you how much we used to get paid, but but we did it for the love of the show. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It wasn't good, but yeah. And people look at us, go, "What? You used to get paid?" Yeah.
So when Kopitiam ended,
Yeah.
were there any other English language shows that were like up for audition, anything like that? Did you come across any after that?
In Malaysia,
Yeah, in Malaysia.
there was one or two. There was this Island FM. I think you know the hip hop star Rifa. I think was it Rifa who did Island FM. There was one or two that were, and also years later. I think Douglas directed a sitcom called SME. It was about small medium enterprise. There was actually a sitcom called SME. I was supposed to have a small cameo role in that, but
What was this on?
It was, I can't remember what channel. It was years ago, and obviously that didn't not do so well. But yeah, but in 2019. We did Kopitiam Double Shot, and that was on View, and it's still on View right now. I mean, it hasn't gotten the publicity that it has, but the young actors in it. I mean, you got Sharifah Amani, Nani, Melissa Campbell. We had Harvin Singh, we had Charles Robert, and then Douglas and I, and we became the two old men in the show.
So obviously, 2019 is a big gap from that last gig, right? So, when do you make that decision to pivot to Malay language entertainment, and was it a hard transition?
No, I started Malay language
first.
No, I started Malay language in 2000. I did my first TV show. It was a telemovie called Toll Gate Girl, back in 2000, 2001, directed by Osman Ali.
Oh yeah.
And my co-star, who was the star, was Amy Masura.
Wow.
And she sang, I think, a couple of songs in the telemovie. Very simple song, a very simple story. It's about a rich guy who falls in love with a girl who worked at a toll gate.
Yeah.
And until today, 24 years later, or whatever, 22 years later, people still remember it. Wow. It was first shown, was it on NTV7 as well? I think so.
Wow.
Raya. Hari Raya, 2001, 2002, and boom, it just went nuts. I mean, this is if social media was there, I'd be Insta famous. I tell you, I'm not joking. Like, but people remembered me until today, and they showed it almost every Raya, every year, and people to today.
No royalties for that, I assume.
And the producer were 10 on 10 pictures, which is owned, well, I don't know whether she still has it, Tan Sri Tiara Jacqueline.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Sudo Sorokin, because she's married to Tan Sri Fendi.
Yeah. I know she's around a lot. Yeah.
So, yeah, but, it was amazing. And
I mean, obviously you all speak Malay, but was it hard to pivot into like, speaking the way like West Missions do to appear on TV, like just speaking purely Malay language? And obviously you grew up in theatre, English language theatre and English language TV. Was it a difficult pivot?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had two lovely assistant directors for Tollgate Girl. Yeah. Everyone was laughing at me. And it was funny because we shot this during Ramadan, Puasa month. So, to top it off, there are two lovely girls teaching me how to like speak Bahasa properly.
Yeah.
And it was like everyone was hungry. It was like we were also shooting from KL all the way to Kedah. Yeah. We ended up shooting the final scenes, or in a lovely kampong in Kedah. I think there was also another Sarawak actor, Irwan. He's here now. I think he's with MSS, and he had a role in it as well. And it was so nice because it was so forgiving. If you watch the thing, it's very cute. The show is a romantic comedy, And I was so lucky to have Amy Masura, because I grew up. I mean, she's just slightly older than I call her Kat Masura, just slightly older. I mean, but I grew up watching her sing. You know, I'm like, you know, Asia Bagus, blah blah blah. You know, and you're like, I'm in a television film with her, and I'm sort of the unknown in the Malay TV industry at the time, because Kopitiam is big, but you know, it was different, even though people watched it.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky, and our director Osman Ali, he was great. He was so good at, and he knew I came from theatre, so it was easy. And the assistant directors, both of them were from theatre as well, so it was so easy. It was the right surrounding for me to be able to learn and gain my confidence doing Malay TV. And from then on, I did another one with him as well, with Umi Aida. I remember that. There was another telemovie I did with her. And then after that, I got offered to do my first film in Malay with Aflin Shauki and Era Fazira. It was Soal Siapa, which was the sequel to Soal Hati, which apparently did really well. And my director was Osman Hasham, who is my sifu for sitcom TV directing.
Did you have to sort that out early on before you even go for auditions, or did you just like jump straight into the deep end?
In what way?
In terms of like speaking in Malay language, like for movies and stuff like that.
You know, I did. You know, being English educated and all that. Like, the more people laughed at me, the more I got myself to learn. I wasn't the fact, you know, people say like, you know, when people make fun of you, blah blah, you're not going to be able to do this kind of stuff. For me, it was always a challenge. Yeah. So what I did was, whenever I was, you know, reading scripts, I also read the newspaper. So I started reading Berita Harian and just getting my language back and being able to speak. And then I forced myself to be able to speak to my friends. Because at home we speak Sarawakian.
Yeah, so that's what I meant. I mean, I know we all can speak like BM, but you know, it's just
the slang.
The slang. Yeah, when I go to West Malaysia, I you know, Sarawakian words come out all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah. So after that adjustment and then making it in the like Malay media scene, so did you? What made you go behind the camera?
It was something I was naturally interested in. Yeah. I even when I was shooting Kopitiam at the beginning, I was always interested in the process. Even when I was in theatre, I was always interested in the process. I would ask the director, because the director, whether you're on TV or theatre, you're in charge of everything: the set, the lighting, the mood. It's very important that, you know, my thing is I enjoy directing television. I haven't done film yet, but I prefer that than directing theatre, because directing theatre is probably one of the hardest tasks, you know, for anyone in the arts, because theatre actors are very hard to work with. They have egos, because it's our trade. We know what we're doing. You know, we believe that we are the best in our art when it comes to acting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're a theatre actor, I'm a theatre actor.
Yeah.
You know? And we get there. We're a thespian, yeah. So yeah, and to be able to do that, I take my hats off. I mean, I got friends who've directed me, and I mean, they found us difficult. or the other way around, they found us comical, and we can't take them seriously. And it happens. But, you know, to be able to do and watch them go through that process, and not just the scripts, and not just with the actors, but everything, handle everything else. I mean, I found it fascinating. So when I did television and started behind the scenes, it was a different process, similar, but you're handling television. You know, you're handling editors, you're handling lighting, you're handling sound guys, you're handling, obviously, actors. different environments, because it's not just set in a theatre, but you're dealing with outside stuff, rain and people and police and permits and stuff. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but wow, exhilarating in that sense, because to be able to complete that at the end of it and you go, wow, that's a great job. In a way, it was like I sort of missed doing events, but this was different type of events.
How important was having an agent?
I was my own agent.
You were your own agent?
Yeah,
so you negotiated your own fees?
Yeah, I had two hats. I learned from a very young age, because when I was working in events, we were already, we had to deal with talents.
Yeah.
With performers who come in. If we had an event that needed dancers and all that, we negotiate for them. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like when I went into television, I didn't know what I was doing. I already had that training. I already had that, stuff that I did for an event. So as I said, once you've done events, it's just like doing another event. So when I was negotiating, the first one didn't negotiate that much. I wanted to do it. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do it. Sign. Didn't even read the contract. It's like, oh no, I just signed something, my life away. Now I actually represent one or two actors. I don't talk about it much, but I'm known in the industry. I won't call it trouble, but I'm known in the industry that I'm not difficult, but I'm fair. I will always negotiate a good thing for my cast, because I know what I've been through it.
Yeah.
And I've always told my talent, said, just give me the bad name, because they'll have to deal with me. You just do your job, and that's how it should be. Yeah. You shouldn't be worrying about you should have your manager being able to get you the best deal, so that you have that peace of mind when you get into the project that you're just doing the job and not thinking, oh God, I should have been paid more. It does. It goes into your mind when you're acting, like, I should have paid more. Should I give my 100%? And
would you advise like an aspiring actor to get an agent?
Yes, but you've got to sort of shop around. You've got to find out from friends and all that. A lot of people get PAs in KL. They do, because they need runners and all that. But I grew up doing stuff by myself, so I don't see the reason why. Because the best thing to do is learn by yourself. When you get a bit bigger and you know that you're a bit more stable, yeah, you probably have your PAs or even your entourage. And we've had cases where we've had talent. You hire them, and you're hiring them and the whole freaking family.
Do you still act today?
I will do it on special cases, depending on who's asking. I still want to do theatre again, whether I have the time. But if there is a theatre production that's going to be produced here in Kuching, I'd do it.
Having been in both, do you have a preference for dramatic or comedic roles?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
As long as I'm on stage doing it, I'll do it. Both has its challenges. It is true, it's harder to make people laugh than make people cry. It's easy to make people cry. Just like slap them, tears come up.
So, have you seen any actors here that you things?
I've got, I've directed, as you know, a few productions, and one or two really good talents. In fact, there are two guys, sorry girls, guys who I want to train them to do improv comedy. Oh. I mean, they know, but they don't know. And I reckon they'll be really good, because they're very sharp. I think there's another younger talent as well. Like, if I train them properly, they'll be big. I mean, they're already big in their own sense anyway, because nowadays social media, they have their own followers and stuff. They're funny. One of them especially, he's quite funny. But if I teach them to do improv or comedy, I think that'll be...
Having directed a few shows here, how do you assess the talent we have here?
again, I just wish there were more. I think there's not enough avenues for our talent to be able to showcase themselves. I don't know what the process is with other production houses, how they audition or do screen tests for talents, because I'm not privy to it. However, how I do it is, the ones who I've auditioned, a long line of questioning. It's like I look into their background, I look into their history, what they've done in the past, and then gauge them, and then obviously we do a screen test and audition and see what they are. One thing I've noticed with a lot of actors nowadays, and I think it's because they've not had theatre training, is when they do their auditions, they're very quiet. Their levels are very low. We, as theatre actors, we've always been taught to project our voices. I don't know whether
is it a matter of
formal
training?
training? Yeah, I think it's just formal training. When speak really softly, and that kills like audio guys. So like, can you speak louder? You can still whisper with a louder voice. It's just training. But if you've never been trained, you don't know how to do it.
What else do you think that is lacking here?
It's a whole theatre scene. That's what we're lacking. Whole theatre scene, from kids to, teens to adults. I'm hoping that when the Performing Arts Centre opens in a few years' time, that they would, one, take into account that we have, an academy, or at least a room, or whatever. Like I said, I think I said it in the last, I don't know, one or two episodes, that go to KL Performing Arts Centre in Kuala Lumpur and witness for yourself what a theatre setting is like. And we can do it here. I know we can do it here. I know we have the funds to do it here. And it will be amazing. And you will birth a whole new theatre, TV, film scene from there.
Yeah. I think on that note.
Yes. So on that note, thank you very much. I always have to say bye-bye. On that
It's
note, I forgot. Thank you very much for watching the RSS with myself, Rashid and Jason. And if you have any questions that you're dying to ask, do send us an email, or just DM us, or slide in your DM, as he says. We obviously have Instagram, Facebook, as well as Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, TikTok. You can hit us up on TikTok.
You can TikTok me, because I love TikTok. So on that note, it's me and Jason right here on the RSS. We'll see you the next time. Bye bye.